And Charak Maharishi has proposed so many medical principles, so many wonderful health principles. Now Germany became so interested in decoding all this Sanskrit of Charak Rishi that they had to open up a whole department called Charkology, where Charaka comes from Charak Muni and logy means the study, like biology. Charkology, you can Google it and you can find it yourselves. To get to the teachings of Charak Maharishi, they opened up a department. Forget about that. Let's come to the most famous German airline in this world. Talk about it? Lufthansa, yes. He was telling me something fascinating about it. I asked him, what is the meaning of the word Lufthansa? What does it mean in German? He said, nothing. I said, why? He said, it's not even a German word. He said, that word Lufthansa comes from Sanskrit. The original word is Lupta Hansa. Lupta means lost. And Hansa means a flying white swan. In traditional ages, in Vedic culture, it is believed, it is believed that people used to travel, starting from Brahma, on a white swan, which would take them far distant places. But now you don't find a flying swan, so they thought probably it existed, which has gone extinct with time. And the word Lupta means that which has got extinct. And Hansa means a flying white swan. And because the aircraft flies in the air and looks like a big white swan, they named it Lupta Hansa, with time it has become Lufthansa. So this is how much nectar is there in Sanskrit, which is the language of presentation for our scriptures. Talking about the vocabulary and the syllables in this language. When you talk about English, you talk about A, B, C, D, E, F, G, up to X, Y, Z. Not that I don't know it, but just to save time. But as far as Sanskrit is concerned, you talk about different syllables. Does anyone know the consonants in Sanskrit language? Has anyone learnt it? It's very simple. Please repeat after me. Ka, kha, ga, kha, ga, ga. Now next. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ta, tha, da, tha, ra. Ta, tha, da, tha, na. Pa, pa, ba, pa, ma. Now you're thinking, is this a Sanskrit class? What is happening? I'll tell you very quickly. These letters that we said 5 categories of 5 letters each, which were 25 syllables that we just chanted together. It is so scientific. It just seems like a random order of sound, alphabets. But it's so fascinating. The first set that we said are all sounds which emanate from the lower end of our throat. Ka, you can feel it as you chant. Ka, kha, ga, kha. You can have a movement. Do you see that? Do you feel a movement of your vocal cords?
Yeah.
Ha. The next set that we talk about, cha, cha, jha, jha, nya, all comes from this section. So it's advancing. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Do you feel it here? Ha. Now the third set is all when the tongue meets the upper palate. You wanna try that?
Wow.
Ta. See, your tongue meets the roof. Do you feel it? Ta, tha, da, tha, la. Do you see the tongue touching the roof? Now the fourth set. Your tongue will touch the back end of your teeth. Ta, tha, da, tha, na. So it's advancing from the lower end of your throat to the middle end, to the palate, to the top, the back end of your teeth. And now the fifth set will only be the movement of your lips. Pa, pa, ba, pa, ma. Sanskrit is such a scientific language, linguistic presentation of Shastra, that from the lower end of your vocal ability to the upper external movement of your lips, 25 syllables move upward. And now imagine when there's permutation, combination, movements of all these syllables just by chanting the verses of the Gita. Imagine how much vocal exercise is being performed. Now is an interesting aspect. How many words can you form with these letters of Sanskrit? In history, according to Sanskrit scientists working in the linguistic aspect of Sanskrit, 102 billion, 80 million, 57 million words, pardon me, 102 trillion, 80 billion, 57 million words have been recorded till now. And the interesting aspect is, if you count from 1 to 56, in the most of the European languages, let it be German, let it be Spanish, let's talk about Italian, let's talk about French, talk about Russian, talk about any of these languages, you count from 1 to 56, they match exactly with 1 to 56 in Sanskrit. You talk about mother, father, brother, sister. In all of these languages, they come from Pitra, Matra, Dihitra, Swastra. How wonderful is this language? This language brings in so much vocal ability. You can sing well, you can articulate well, you can play the flute well, you can do so many things just by exercising, by reading the Gita. Now, I'm not even talking about the spiritual aspect of it. I'm just talking about what you gain just by reading it. Because the presentation is in Sanskrit. Now, Prabhupada presented it. And we are asking this question, what is the need? What is the need for all of this? When someone is going to a movie theater and you ask them, why are you going to this movie theater? What do you think that person would say?
To watch a movie.
To watch a movie. Thank you so much. There's one very intelligent boy here. Because others were still wondering about what to say and he shut up. Very good. What's your name?
Anurag.
Anurag? Very nice. No, I'm not being sarcastic. Okay, if we all go to a stadium to watch a game, and I ask you, why are you going to the stadium? What is your answer? Thank you. Now you're thinking it's stupid. I'm coming to it. So everyone knows why you go to a movie theater. Everyone knows why we go to a stadium to watch a game. Now think about it. If we ask about, why do you want to go to a park? What are the answers?
To play.
To play, thank you. When we say, why do you want to go to school? To study, thank you. You don't want to go to school, okay, thank you. Some really honest kids here. Your parents around? Here? Okay, no one to take note of that, anyway. But I want to tell you, I was in the same category. I didn't want to go. So you get into a school to graduate quickly. So you study quickly so that you graduate. So everyone knows the purpose behind going to a school. We all know the purpose behind going to a stadium. We all know the purpose behind going to a movie theater. We all know the purpose to go to work. All the parents out there. Thank God it's Friday. And then, oh God, it's Monday. So everyone knows we go to work to make money. Everyone has a common reason for these places. But you ask 10 people, why do you go to a temple? And I bet you get 20 different answers. There's one person who will tell you, I have a test tomorrow. And the other person will say, I have my results tomorrow. Yeah. So people go to the temple for different reasons. But there's no one common reason that anyone is aware of. Why we get to a spiritual path, why we read the Gita, why we go to a temple. So therefore, for the next 20 minutes or so, if you pay complete attention, maybe we can address this together. But for that, I need your help in going into the pages of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, if that's okay with you. You all heard of the Ramayana?
Yes.
You all heard of the Mahabharata?
Yes.
Ramayana is an interesting text, by the way. Very interesting. Historic, oftentimes people ask whether it's fact or fiction, whether it's history or mystery. But it did happen. If you try to map the geographical path of what Ramchandra took with the Shastra, and you map that in real life, and you map to all the temples that record his coming and leaving and all the pastimes, and then you map to the local traditions in that area, they all coincide. How is it possible that something that, according to the historians, dated 5,000 years ago, how is it possible for one person to write it and map it exactly, geographically correct, and go to all these places and make temples to mark it, and then bring in local traditions which map with the story. It's impossible. So there is a map of three things. Local traditions, there's a map of local traditions, geographical correctness, and the scriptural story. So these two texts of Ramayana and Mahabharata, let us promise that we will never call them mythology. Because they're always found in the library under the section of mythology, which means myth, which means that which is not true. It's interesting that Harry Potter which is not true, we believe it to be true. And that Ramayana and Mahabharata which is actually true, we still ponder and scratch our head whether or not it's true. So in that Mahabharata, there was a very interesting character by the name, who's going to guess it?
Krishna? Arjuna.
Arjun's here. Let's talk about Duryodhana. How about that?